I'm wondering whether you can either kill off or confirm some rumours that have been floating around in press for a couple of years around the existence of a fourth SAS squadron, so-called Squadron, that was meant to have been raised by Prime Minister Howard, I think in 2005, and tasked more onto an intelligence-focused role in late 2010 or early 2011. But I note there's no recognition of the existence of Squadron on the SAS website, and it's never actually been formally confirmed that it even exists by Defence. Can you give us a read one way or another?
Lieutenant General David Morrison, Chief of Army. With respect, Senator, I will not be making any comment about that.
So that's a kind of a neither confirm nor deny sort of...
Senator, we won't talk about the Special Forces for obvious reasons.
Sorry, the mic's not getting in.
Sorry about that. We won't talk about Special Forces and their capabilities for obvious reasons.
I haven't even started on capabilities. Now, I don't want to trespass into operational stuff, but it doesn't seem unreasonable to be able to ask whether such a squadron even exists or not. Is that not something that the Parliament would have a right to know?
Sorry, we won't talk about Special Forces capabilities in an open forum.
I haven't started on capabilities.
Yes, you have.
Just the existence
So
of...
we don't talk about our Special Forces and their capabilities for the obvious reasons.
The Prime Minister's been talking about them at length in press conferences in the last couple of weeks around quite hard-edged operational matters, but you're not even able to confirm for us whether this unit, or however you want me to refer to it, exists or not.
Chair, I think we've gone down that path. Well, we can go for 15 minutes like this.
No, I won't waste your time, but it's remarkable that the Parliament's not even allowed to know whether it exists or not. Like, that's really extraordinary. I want to come to something that occurred only a matter of a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
And you may not be able to tell me whether or not these two things are related or not. Earlier this month, a number of peace activists trespassed on Commonwealth land at Swan Island in Victoria. I guess you won't be able to confirm or deny, I guess, whether that was Squadron that they trespassed on. But just tell us what the protocol is for people who've admitted in advance that they were planning on doing that, and understand this same group has done so a couple of years running. What's the protocol for apprehending them when they are found to be trespassing?
Senator, Swan Island is a defence facility which is used for Army training, including counter-terrorism training. Under Section 72 of the Defence Act, ADF personnel are given the power to detain persons they suspect of trespassing on defence land until they can be transferred to civilian authorities.
Yeah.
It's my understanding that on the 2nd of October of this year, 8 protesters from that group that you mentioned entered and illegally breached the perimeter of Swan Island's training area, and they were apprehended by both defence personnel and by Victorian Police.
Yeah. I gather in that order, the Victorian Police were a little bit late on the scene, so it was actually the defence personnel, whoever they were, who interdicted them, as it were.
There were
initially.
4 protesters who were apprehended by defence personnel, and subsequently another 4 protesters were apprehended by Victorian Police.
Okay. Reports on the day and reports provided directly to me indicate that they were black-bagged, stripped naked, dragged along the ground, threatened with anal rape and with drowning. I'm presuming that's not in operational procedures for apprehending demonstrators.
Senator, those allegations were made at the time.
Yeah.
They are taken seriously by Defence, and they are the subject of a Defence investigation.
Okay.
I would note, however, that the Victorian Police have charged, as I best understand, have charged those who entered the Swan Island training facility under Commonwealth laws.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me, I guess. And I understand that these people expected to be apprehended and arrested. I guess that's what will happen if you sneak onto a defence base. But I just want to, so just describe to me, if you would, the nature of this investigation or review that's underway.
Well, allegations were made. I mean, there are allegations made from time to time against defence personnel, and Defence takes those matters seriously, and we have systems in place to investigate allegations.
Can you just talk us through the systems? What's actually happening?
Here, I've asked for Defence to conduct an investigation to make sure that the actions undertaken by Defence personnel were appropriate.
Okay, and who's undertaking that investigation?
It's being done within the Defence Department. I don't have the specific person or the specific persons who are conducting the investigation.
Yeah, I don't know that it'd be appropriate to ask for the specific persons, but where within the department, if you can just point out like what kind of designation it is and what process will be followed. Where could I look in your Act to find out what processes, or your regs, to find out what processes that will be followed and who's conducting it?
Well, I can't speak specifically about this investigation. If you're asking more broadly about how the investigations procedures run within the Department of Defence, that can be answered, but not by me.
Yeah, I guess I want to know, like, by what protocols or what process this particular instance will be investigated.
Well, they'll be investigated under the processes that we have within the Department of Defence.
Okay. I mean, just talk me through what those are.
Well, I just said those processes are not subject matters that I am an expert in.
Okay. Should I ask the secretary, or who's an expert in the room? We've got a room full of experts.
Well, how about I take the question on notice and provide you with, or the department will provide you with an answer.
Yeah, okay, that would...
But it won't be specific to this investigation, because I'm not making a comment about that. I'm not going to give you the facts of this investigation. I'll give you how investigations are conducted within the department.
That's what I understand the question too.
Yeah,
So it's
that's
the
right.
process.
Consistent, I mean, presumably you're not going to send me off to something irrelevant, consistent with what's being applied in this case.
No.
Yeah, I didn't ask you to preempt the outcome.
Quick assessment.
What's... You've acknowledged, and I thank you, that you take the allegations seriously. They're actually pretty horrific. What kind of penalties apply if it turns out that the allegations are upheld?
Oh, well,
I think you're being speculative there. So I think we have to let the investigation run its course and then see what the recommendations of the investigation would be.
Would they ever be made public?
The
investigation, the recommendations, findings, penalties, would any of that ever be made public?
it would depend on the outcomes of the investigation.
Just talk me through what you mean by that.
Well, we do investigations over time within Defence, and you do see statements out there from the outcomes that we have. It will depend on the investigation. It will depend on the allegations that are made and what comes out of that investigation.
Can you just rule out for me, because I suspect this isn't what you're saying. It's not that it won't be disclosed in public if there's found to be truth to these allegations, but on what criteria would you base whether or not it's disclosed?
It will depend on the outcomes of the investigation.
But what does that mean exactly? Like,
Exactly what I just said. So it'll depend on the outcomes that are there. I mean, if it's totally false, there's really nothing to say. If there are outcomes where there are cases to answer and there's actions, then that could well be that's all announced. It just depends on what the outcomes are.
If it's totally false, I'm presuming you'd want to clear the reputations of those who've been accused of...
Yeah, that's right.
So that would be put into the public domain. Not trying to play funny buggers here. I'm trying to work out on what basis...
No, I'm not either, Senator. It's just, you're taking me through a path that we're not there yet, so I don't know.
Yeah. But will, in some form, the results of the investigation be made public, I guess? That's what I'm very interested to know, that it won't simply disappear and I'll be told later that it was operational and I have no right to know.
It won't disappear.
It won't disappear. Thank you, Chair.
And again, it won't disappear because I take the allegations quite seriously as well.
I believe you.
Yeah.
I understand that you do. I've actually never seen anything quite as strong as this from this kind of action before, having participated in similar sort of stuff myself. I'll leave it there and I guess we'll continue at a later time. Thanks, Chair.